Sir, in the 6th chapter of the reconstruction of religious thought in Islam, Hazrat Allama lays emphasis on the need for Ijtihad in the Muslim world. How important is this Ijtihad in these times, and which principles should we pursue it in?
You see what Iqbal calls Ijtihad, he changes its meanings. In the olden times, Ijtihad actually meant to give preference to one opinion of a faqih as compared to the other. But Iqbal transforms its meanings as a principle of movement in the social structure of Islam. So the principle of movement is something different than what has been the old explanation of what Ijtihad should be. Iqbal by Ijtihad means principle of movement. He says Muslims have to adopt their life in accordance with the principle of permanence and change. He discusses this in the chapter of Ijtihad. There are certain values which are permanent. They are concerned with your ibadat. There are certain values which are not concerned with ibadat, but they are concerned with muamalat. He says the values which are concerned with your ibadat are permanent. They can't be changed. Those which are subject to muamalat are subject to the law of change. So muamalat means whether you can have 4 wives or 1. You can transform it. You can make law of compulsing, of making marriage monogamous rather than polygamous. You have other also things like that. Cutting off hand or stoning to death. You can change these laws. They're concerned with muamalat. They are not concerned with ibadat. Ibadat is that you can't change the laws pertaining to namaz. There are 5 namazes, you have to have them 5. You can't reduce them to 2. But muamalat you can change, subject to the law of change. This is what he calls Ijtihad. Change it. And he claims that the Holy Prophet is a bridge between the old and the new. He says that he represents old or ancient because of the fountain of Wahi. He's a bridge, brings you down to the modernity through Ijtihad, because he allowed Ijtihad during his own lifetime when he appointed the governor in Syria, in one of the Arab states. So Ijtihad is a principle of movement. Ijtihad is something which makes you advance in life. So he lays emphasis on it. This is one of the causes on which he has been criticized, by laying emphasis on Ijtihad. And then he says that now in modern terminology, Islam stands for democratic order. He proves through history that Islam stands for democracy. And in democracy, he gives the power of Ijtihad to Parliament. And he says individual mujtahideen would not be available anymore. They are no more effective. Ijtihad has to be in the form of ijma, majority vote. So one form of Ijtihad is ijma, which Iqbal approves, that you should decide lawmaking by Parliament on the basis of majority. So what he actually claims is that in modern times, Ijtihad may take place in the form of ijma. Ijma means majority view. The Holy Prophet has claimed in one of his hadiths that my community will never agree on an error. When he says that my community, that means the majority of my community would not agree on anything erroneous. Then he claims, the Prophet says, the devil has his hold on an individual, but he cannot have his hold on a community. That means that whatever rule you make on the basis of majority, that of course is the right reasoning. So interpret muamalat on the basis of majority. That can only happen in Parliament. That is why Iqbal lays emphasis on the practice of Ijtihad through Parliament, through democratic means, through democratic rule. through accepting democratic theory, through accepting that Islam stands for democracy. When he advanced this argument in Aligarh, the students asked him, in your poetry you have criticized democracy. You have said democracy एक तर्ज हुकूमत है कि जिसमें बंदों को गिना करते हैं, तोला नहीं करते. So he said, what? I haven't stated anything wrong. But tell me, what are the alternatives of democracy? Alternative of democracy are either kingship, sovereignty, or it is amarat, dictatorship. Both these things are disapproved by Islam. If Islam disapproves monarchy, if it disapproves dictatorship, then what are we left with? Even if there are faults in democracy, you have to accept it, because that is the only form through which we can achieve our own targets. That's why he says the message of Islam is the establishment of a democratic order.